this current rate of reimbursement. Because in our mission, these psychologists and all of it, not physical, but spiritual, it's holistic care. Yeah, I would be doing it next.
I think in 2 months, so really.
In the winter.
He's coming in. He's in his chair. That's his chair.
All right, if I could ask everyone to stand. Reverend Gerhardt.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. And would you bow your heads with me for invocation? Lord our God, although it's been several months since December 25th, our hospital resonates with a line from the Christmas story, expressing that there is no room in the inn. With tourist season in full swing and our patient census breaking all previous records, our ability to care for those in need has been tried and tested. Many of us have been praying for wisdom and strength to handle the additional patient load. And we are grateful that the staff and the leaders of this great institution have been able to welcome into our care all the multitudes who have arrived at our facilities in need to receive our attention and our expertise. But as we care for these multitudes, our God, would you remind us to see them ever and always as individuals, each in need not only of our medical skill and knowledge, but also of our sincere care and our tender compassion as they face the frailty of our human condition. Bless all of our efforts to bring hope and health to our patients, grant an added measure of strength and sensitivity to our staff, and guide these members of our hospital board with wisdom from heaven above. These things together we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Join me in a pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, thank you. Let me just read this. First of all, call the meeting to order, and I'm Joe DiVirgilio, Chairman. I have something to read here relative to public comment. Any citizen desiring to address the hospital board should turn in a speaker card to the board secretary. If the citizen comment pertains to an item on the agenda today, the comment will be heard early in the meeting. Otherwise, it will be heard towards the end. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 5 minutes. Vendors, suppliers, or other persons seeking hospital contracts awarded on a competitive basis are reminded that their ability to address the board may be restricted by the terms of the invitation to bid, request for proposal, or other purchasing criteria. Lastly, the board has established a claims adjustment review panel comprised of representatives of the board, the medical staff, administration, and legal counsel to review and negotiate the settlement of claims. Accordingly, the board will not entertain comments or discussion or negotiate claims at this meeting. Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the orders of day.
I move approval of the orders of the day.
Do we have a second? Any comment, questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? All righty, that's all set. Next is the approval of minutes of the meeting of January 16th, 2018. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes of the meeting of January 16, 2018.
Any comments, questions, additions? All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no? All righty. Next, we have, I guess we don't have any board reports, so we'll move on from there. Next will be our, I guess, board education, for lack of a better term. If you would mind doing the introduction there.
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to introduce Paul Chomiak. He is a board-certified thoracic surgeon and fellow of the Society of Thoracic Surgeons, and has completed his medical school and residency at Loyola, and then went on to complete a fellowship in Madison, Wisconsin. He recently arrived just a short 5 weeks ago from Sacred Heart in Pensacola, and is now the director of the Thoracic, thank you. That's the word, Thoracic Surgical Oncology here at Sarasota Memorial. His interests include robotic and minimally invasive procedures for both benign and cancerous conditions of the chest, and he's here to give the community a report on the update of multidisciplinary management of lung cancer.
Thank you, Dr. Garner. I appreciate it, and thank you for pretty much covering most of my first slide. I
Absolutely.
really appreciate that. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Chomiak, and I am a thoracic surgeon. I embarked on my journey in thoracic surgery in the early 90s, and for those of you who will get an opportunity to meet with me, you're first of all going to understand that I think a little bit different and act a little bit different than a typical physician.
Loyola in Milwaukee?
Loyola University in Chicago, sir.
In Chicago.
Yes, yes. And part of that is my baseline personality is that of an ENTJ. I have been trained by Quint Studer, and I am a disciple of hardwiring excellence. So customer service sort of runs through my blood. One of the points is, yes, I am the new director of thoracic surgical oncology, and I've done this twice before, 2 different cancer centers. Recently, I've been recruited from an MD Anderson Cancer Center, where I served as the chief of thoracic surgical oncology. As a thoracic surgeon, about half of my day is dealing with malignancies or cancers of the chest. The other half deals with anywhere from benign conditions, traumatic conditions, smoking-related injuries, or even congenital issues involving other parts of the chest exclusive of the heart. I have a lot of interest and experience in program development. I previously have developed and directed 2 thoracic surgical oncology programs, 2 lung cancer screening programs, a multidisciplinary lung cancer clinic, and I was the very first thoracic surgeon in the country to develop and direct a cyberknife radiosurgical center. I've served on various board of directors, most recently in Pensacola, in a board of director that governed over 400 physician practices over 300 miles. I've been involved with local hospital and national leadership, and my clinical research and development has been in the field of radiosurgery and electromagnetic navigation bronchoscopy, which I'll introduce to you briefly. This is my biggest concern. Lung cancer is an epidemic. The overall survival of lung cancer in our country today is only 17%. 1/3 of all cancer-related deaths are from lung cancer. And I believe the biggest problem as compared to other common malignancies like breast cancer, prostate, and colon is we don't identify patients early on. Only 16% of patients that present with lung cancer are actually early stage. The earlier we identify them, the better chance we have to manage them for curative intent. Unfortunately, when you look at a map of how we deal with lung cancer management in our country, it's very disorganized. It is very time inefficient, and on average, it takes a patient about 90 days from diagnosis of a nodule to implementation of treatment. Is this wrong? No, it's just the way it is. In Britain, it's actually 120 days. I am honored and blessed to be part of this program. And one of the reasons I look at this is you've already accomplished tremendous amount of accolades in your lung cancer management program, your thoracic surgical program. You have a American College of Surgeons accreditation for your Cancer Institute and a designation for your lung screening center. I am honored to collaborate with my partner, Joe Seaman, who's the medical director of the lung nodule screening program, to assist him in any way I can with my experience. Both Joe and I have a combined over 14 years of expertise experience in electromagnetic navigation bronchoscopy. What this means is in our primary and secondary markets south of Tampa Bay, we are the only program here at SMH to offer this level of expertise for this type of technology. Now, traditionally, when a patient's identified with a nodule in their lung, the image on the left shows sort of the way things have been managed for 30 years. A radiologist places a needle across the chest to do a biopsy. Well, this is a successful procedure and a diagnosis can be made. But nowadays, our medical oncology colleagues are warranting ample tissue so that we can run all these different types of molecular and biologic studies. And this procedure on the left is relatively risky. There's about a 20 to 40% chance your lung will collapse when someone sticks a needle into it. To the right is electromagnetic navigation bronchoscopy. I want you to view this as almost you do as a GPS in your car. You decide, how am I going to get from point A to point B, and a computer sort of gives you a simulation how to get there. Well, we do the same thing. We create a simulation protocol ahead of time, which then, once the patient's asleep, a weak electromagnetic field is generated around their chest. And using this navigational guidance, I can direct a 3-millimeter catheter anywhere in the lung, similar to how a cardiologist passes a catheter through a vessel anywhere through the heart. And once I'm able to engage on a target or targets, regardless of either lung or both lungs, I can take 20 to 30 biopsies. And in doing so, we get ample amounts of tissue to make diagnosis, determine our prognostic outcomes, and the risk of collapsing a lung is less than 3% in this outpatient procedure. I am also very honored to partner with my colleague, Dr. Vesco. Once again, as a matter of fact, if you look at our primary and secondary markets south of Tampa Bay, we are now the only program that has 2 dedicated thoracic surgical oncologists serving the needs of this region. I have a lot of interest and experience in robotic surgery. Robotic surgery is a technique where instead of using a conventional incision, an operation can be performed through tiny puncture sites where the tips of the instruments have been sort of embedded into these extended arms. The surgeon, instead of being directly at the patient's side, sits in this operative environment and uses a 3-dimensional monitor to reproduce all the surgical movements, which are transferred directly via the robot into the patient's body cavity. Is this an operation for everybody? No, but in patients who are appropriate for this operation, what research has demonstrated to us is allows for me to have greater accuracy in doing a cancer operation. Shorter hospitalizations have been documented of 1 or 2 days versus 5 to 7 days. There's a lower risk of side effects, faster overall recovery, and the quality of life has been proven to be much better in these patients who undergo robotic surgery. Again, I place this slide in front of you just to remind you what the standard of management is for lung cancer in our country. I am currently in my point of analysis. I'm learning about your program. I'm learning about your quality outcomes. I'm investigating. I'm speaking with individuals to try to get a better grasp on the overall process. But my implementation strategy then is to obtain a bunch of key stakeholders in these processes and continue to build on the success that you've already demonstrated in this team and in this thoracic program. And I'm hoping at the point, once we get all this data and take a look at it, we can look for opportunities for enhancement. How do we further improve our quality? How do we further reduce our length of stay? How do we become more fiscally responsible as we manage these patients and these services? I want to expand on your accreditation opportunities. A great example is look at your cardiac surgical program. It's recently been designated at a 3-star level by the Society of Thoracic Surgeons. That's the highest quality indicator that one can achieve in a heart surgery program. As a matter of fact, your program is the only 3-star STS program in the entire state of Florida. Your current thoracic surgical program is a 2-star program, and my goal is to bring this up to a 3-star in establishing these collaborations and seeing what kind of process enhancement we have. Also, I'm very excited to work with your Cancer Institute leadership. Our goal is to take cancer management to the next level. How do we facilitate a true multidisciplinary care management. So we don't emulate what's going on in the communities of this country, but we can streamline it, and we ensure that we use national guidelines from the National Cancer Institute, the National Cancer Care Network, to make sure that patients are getting the appropriate care at the appropriate time as quickly as possible. In addition to utilizing these guidelines, I want to help in collaboration of developing navigation platforms. So the endpoint is this, and I've achieved this at 2 other cancer care centers, and I'm excited to be able to help lead this process enhancement here. So now not only do we look for the symptomatic patient that comes into the system, but we're screening for the asymptomatic high-risk patients. And those patients are now coming into a multidisciplinary level where they are rapidly evaluated. A navigator is able to move these patients in a linear progress through all the specialists involved and determine what are the best ways to obtain a diagnosis, the best ways to clinically or surgically stage that patient, and get that patient into a treatment plan within 2 weeks of entering this portal. So again, I'm honored and blessed to be part of this system, and I look forward to working with all of you and be more than happy to answer any questions a little bit later. Thank you.
Doctor, thank you very much, and welcome aboard.
Welcome. Great.
All right, next up, we have our Excel Award, David.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I'd like to actually just thank Dr. Chomiak in his presentation. Paul, it's been great to meet you. It's been great to go through the recruitment with you, and we're glad to welcome you to Sarasota and happy you're here. Board may not know this, but we may have been the longest recruitment we've ever had. I think we searched for Paul or Dr. Chomiak for 3.5 years before we found him. So welcome. Okay, I'd like to start with our Excel Award winner for February 2018. Invite Lynn Livinghouse to join me. Lynn, come on up. We were all enjoying your delicacies today. Good. So we appreciated it. So, Lynn Livinghouse is our February Excel Award winner. She's a pastry chef in food and nutrition and has worked at Sarasota Memorial since 2005. So I should clarify, Lynn did not win this award on her cakes and confections alone. If that were the case, she'd win every month, right? This board knows that very well. Indeed, Lynn's nominations prove that the employee behind the tantalizing pastry case in 17 South is highly respected and admired. Her coworkers agree she is positive and professional and takes great pride in her craft. Lynn's passion comes through in every piece, they say. Lynn works third shift and is always flexible, often working events for Sarasota Memorial. Last fall, she volunteered for the Hurricane A team so that during lockdown, everyone could have a special treat to help offset the stress. During holidays, her coworkers say Lynn enjoys preparing pies and cakes for employees to purchase so they'll have something to share with their family and friends. An employee recently wrote that her foodie parents raved over the most visually exquisite and best chocolate mousse cake they'd ever tasted. So Lynn, just want to thank you so much for everything that you do for this hospital, our patients, and us. Okay? Thank you very much. And Tram, you going to come up and read?
Hey, Lynn, let me add my thanks for those desserts. A little too much. But anyway, this is the Excel Award. Recipients are employees who are models of excellence and consistently demonstrate the mission, vision, and values of our organization. They are superior performers that make an extra effort in the quality and care of our patients and families in the community. The hospital board and administrative staff of Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System recognizes Lynn Livinghouse with the Excel Award for the month of February 2018, signed by David Verinder and our distinguished chairman, Joe DiVirgilio, chairman. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Perfect. Microphone is yours.
Are you sure? He's going to. You did a great speech the other day. You did.
I just want to say that to be recognized for doing something that I love to do and have done for a very long time is an amazing feeling, and thank you for giving me that feeling.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn. Okay.
We have the Leadership Award for the
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you. So I'm happy to report we have our Leadership Award for the fourth quarter of 2017. So I'd like to ask Michelle Shirey to come up and join me. Michelle? Michelle Shirey is our Leadership Award for winner for fourth quarter 2017. Michelle is the Executive Director of Administration for the First Physicians Group and has been at Sarasota Memorial since 2013. All Michelle's nominations were in unison about her outstanding leadership qualities, and each highlighted the one they found most valuable. One coworker says Michelle leads by example, with the highest integrity, and serves as a respected mentor. Another describes Michelle as a supreme multitasker who, despite a schedule that would daunt most people, makes time to offer guidance to others. Several others agree that whatever decision she needs to make, Michelle is always honest and fair, and that she is a selfless leader who is fully committed to FPG and the entire Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System. Michelle, congratulations. Thank you for everything you do day to day. We really appreciate it.
So, Michelle, on behalf of the board and the administrative staff, it's my pleasure to read this plaque to you. Leadership Award. There's a quote on here from the second President of the United States, John Quincy Adams. I was thinking it was John Adams. Anyway, the quote is, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, you are a leader." The hospital board and administrative staff of Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System present to you the Leadership Award for the fourth quarter 2017, signed by David Verinder, President, and our Chairman, Joseph D. Virgilio. Congratulations, Michelle. Absolutely.
I'm honored and humbled by this award, and as I mentioned at Management Council, it really is a team. Part of my team is sitting behind me. They always do support everything that we do in FPG, and again, thank you.
Alrighty, well, those were fabulous. Reported medical staff. Dr. Gardner, anything?
No, sir.
Alrighty, we'll move on then. Foundation report, Mason Ayers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a quick report this afternoon. First of all, just wanted to make sure you all had the March 23rd date on your calendar. It's our Women in Medicine Educational Luncheon. This year's program is going to feature the SMH Stroke Care program, so I hope all of you can be there for the luncheon. Also, hot off the press is our winter edition of our Envision magazine. This also has a cover story on the stroke program at SMH, and it's scheduled to hit homes in Sarasota in the next week or so. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Fantastic, thank you. Tram, Secretary's report.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a quick correction. I said that was the second president. I know that was wrong. It was actually his son, John Quincy Adams, was elected in 1824 and defeated Andrew Jackson in that election. Just thought I'd share that with you before I make my report.
I was missing that in my repertoire.
Well,
Stop rewriting the history books, folks.
no. And just to demonstrate my knowledge of presidential history, Andrew Jackson actually won the popular vote in 1824. He came back and won in 1828.
Something tells me, Tram, we ought to move on.
Okay, all right, we'll move on.
To dates.
All right, well, I just wanted to clear the air on that. I have the calendar for the month of March. Would like to remind board members. Yes, Mr. Henry.
We have a suggestion of listeners on TV. If you'd like to contest Mr. Hudson's comments, send us a letter and we'll read them aloud.
This is dangerous. Anyway, board members, we will be meeting on March the 19th. It's a Monday. Please note that this is a later time at 10:30. The Finance Committee at noon. We will conduct peer review. At 12:30, we will have the board lunch and discuss issues facing the hospital. And at 2 o'clock, we will convene in this room for our board meeting. And those are the only official meetings for the month of March.
Thank you, Tram.
You're welcome.
Treasury report, Susan, Sharon, excuse me. See, Susan, I gave you a promotion already. Sharon?
Yes, approval of bad debts and charity care. I propose a motion. I move approval of bad debts and charity care for the month ended January 31st, 2018 in the amount of $28,907,000.
Second. We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes, with discussion. May I note that that was, for the audience, that was 1 month?
Yes, it was.
Community, we're doing it for you.
All those opposed to the motion, please signify by saying no. All righty, the motion passes. Thank you, Sharon. Bill, financial highlights.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the financial highlights for January and for our fiscal year to date, which is 4 months along in the fiscal year. We'll start with operating revenue for the system. For the month of January, we had operating revenue of $70,476,000 compared to a budget of $68,743,000. Fiscal year to date, operating revenue stands at $268,760,000 compared to a budget of $256,194,000. Total expenses for the system for the month of January, $67,933,000 compared to a budget of $67,600,000. And fiscal year to date, again, that's 4 months, $260,707,000 compared to a budget of $256,011,000. Our operating income for the system in the rating agency format for January, $5,865,000, which generated an operating margin of 7.8%, compared to a budget of $4,493,000, generating an operating margin of 6.1% in the budget. Fiscal year to date, operating income of $21,249,000 for an operating margin through 4 months of 7.4%, compared to a budget of $13,586,000, budgeted operating margin of 5%. Going into statistics for the hospital, and these are fiscal year-to-date numbers, our average daily occupancy, 515 patients, compared to a budget of 508. Admissions, 12,296, compared to a budget of 11,300. So far this year, our average acute length of stay is 4.39 days, which is just a little bit under last year through this 4-month period of 4.43 days. The hospital's surgery cases, again, fiscal year to date, 7,891, compared to a budget of 7,520. And so far, we've had 1,210 births, compared to a budget of 1,162. The hospital's outpatient registrations, 157,589, compared to a budget of 146,921. And our emergency care center registrations, 42,485, compared to a budget of 41,766. And our case mix index through 4 months for all patients, 1.83, and for Medicare patients, 1.92. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Bill. Any questions? All righty, next we'll move on to committee reports. Admission and Planning Committee, Greg Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Mission and Planning Committee met this morning, and we opened with Frank Morgan, Executive Director for Ambulatory Services, and Jen Storch, Director for Ambulatory Services, presented an update on the Urgent Care Center service line. Sarasota Memorial now has 6 Urgent Care Center properties, providing services to most of Sarasota County and parts of Manatee County. Urgent Care Centers have a goal to provide high-quality, cost-effective health care services close to home for non-emergent needs. The centers have been consistent volume growth since starting the program in 2006. Additionally, patient satisfaction scores are among the highest in the country, ranked in the top 20th percentile for the patient's likelihood to recommend. Building upon these successes, Mr. Morgan and Ms. Storch presented new strategies that are being explored to continue providing high-quality, convenient, urgent care to our patients. Our next agenda item, Peter Taylor, Vice President for Strategy and Marketing, Dr. Jack Rodman, Vice President and Chief Medical Officer for First Physicians Group, and Tom Perigo, Director of Architecture and Construction Services, presented a request for construction of a new medical office building on the southwest corner of Lorraine Road and State Route 70 in Lakewood Ranch area. Mr. Taylor opened the presentation with an overview of the Lakewood Ranch community demographics and the growing need for additional health care services in this region. Dr. Rodman reviewed the previous land purchase of the site on State Road 70 in Lorraine as well as the benefits of this location due to visibility and proximity to new housing developments. Additionally, Dr. Rodman presented the anticipated floor plans of the facility to preclude pediatric and internal medicine physician services, as well as a timeshare for other specialists. Mr. Perigo concluded the presentation with the estimated project expenses and timeline for construction. The facility is planned to open in June of 2019, and the Mission and Planning Committee made the motion and passed the recommendation to the Board of Directors to approve the construction of the First Physicians Group medical office facility on State Road 70 and Lorraine Road in Lakewood Ranch for $6,710,000 without using funds derived from the assessment of ad valorem taxes on property located within the district. So, Mr. Chairman, at this time, I move approval of construction of the First Physicians Group facility at Lorraine Corners on State Road 70 and Lorraine Road in Lakewood Ranch for $6,710,000, with none of such funds being derived from the assessment of ad valorem taxes on property located within the district as recommended by the Mission and Planning Committee.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no.
No.
Alrighty, motion passes. You continue your report?
Our last agenda item, Mr. Perigo reviewed selection committee rankings for the general contractors and architects and engineers for the previously approved first two project phases of the Sarasota Memorial Cancer Care Project, a radiation oncology center at the University Parkway campus, and an inpatient and surgical tower on the hospital campus. The Mission and Planning Committee made the motion and passed the recommendation to the board to approve the selection committee rankings for both projects. At this time, I move approval of the ranking of the general contractors and architects and engineers for phases 1 and 2 of the Comprehensive Cancer Center as recommended by the Public Selection Committee and the Mission and Planning Committee as follows. For phase 1, general contractors, first CPPI, Willis Smith Construction, second Turner Construction and J2 Solutions, third DeAngelis Diamond Construction. The architect and engineers, first Flad Architects, second HKS Architects, and third Harvard Jolly Architects. And then for phase 2, general contractors Brassfield and Gorey LLC, second Turner Construction J2 Solutions, third CPPI Willis Smith Construction. And for architect and engineers, Flad Architects first, second HKS Architects, and third Array Architects.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Thank you.
That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. All right, next we have the Investment Committee report. Jim Meister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Investment Committee met this morning The minutes of the August 12, 2017 committee were approved. Tim Sant of Summit Strategies presented a report on the market environment and the retirement plan portfolio results as of December 31st, 2017. The plan assets had a return of 3.27% during the quarter ended December 31st and earned 14.78% for the calendar year 2017. Tim's report included a look at the 5-year portfolio average return. 5-year average return was 8.17%. Tim also presented a review of the asset allocation for the retirement plan. He does not recommend any changes to the asset allocation at this time. He stated that the portfolio is currently well diversified and any changes that he reviewed would have only minimal impact on expected return and risk. Second, we were visited by Kaylin Robertson of Northern Trust, and he gave a presentation of the 2018 fixed income update and portfolio review, which included an outlook on inflation and interest rates. Kaylin presented information on the board designated fund investment results for the quarter ended December 31st of last year. The enhanced cash fund had a return of 7 basis points during the quarter and 1.14% over the calendar year 2017. The intermediate fund had a return of 20 basis points during the quarter and earned 2.93% for the calendar 2017. Both portfolios are invested in high-quality securities. And this concludes my report.
Thank you, Jim. Excuse me a second. David, President's report?
Yes, sir. So I'm going to start today, as I do each month, with our report card. We're looking at today at results fiscal year to date, so October through January, for the various items we have here. In the service pillar, we start with our HCAHPS scores, which we have a goal of having 8 out of 11 at the domains at 50th percentile or greater. Happy to report we are maintaining our 8 out of 11 right now, and I'll show you the details here in a few minutes. On the outpatient side, we have a goal of having 55 out of 58 of the domains at 50th percentile or greater. I am happy once again to report that we're meeting that expectation or exceeding it and hitting 56 out of 58 right now. In the people pillar, we have our goal of having turnover of full-time and part-time employees within the first 12 months of hire at a 25% or less. We are a little bit higher than that. We're almost at 26% right now. Once again, have a lot of plans working on that to be able to recruit and retain employees here and during their first 12 months of hire. On the quality pillar, our goal is having our infection prevention, which is a combined overall standardized infection rate, at less than 0.95, remembering that the expected or the national average is 1.0. Happy to report we're a good bit under that at 0.86. In the finance pillar, as our CFO, Bill Wojin, has already reported, we have an operating margin goal of having 5.1%, which is our budget. Happy to report we're exceeding that at 6.2% at the current time. And in our growth pillar, we have 2 goals. Our first one being our inpatient admits and observation patients being at 38,899. Happy to report we are exceeding that at 45,548. And our outpatient registrations having a goal of 799,000, and happy to report we're exceeding that at 825,000. So we look at our HCAHPS scores in a little bit more detail. You can see that we are missing it on 3 different items: responsiveness to hospital staff, cleanliness of the hospital environment, and quietness of the hospital environment. We do have teams of people working on those around the clock. I will tell you, particularly challenging right now with the given volumes that we're seeing in this health system, which you've heard about several times today. But I will commend our staff for going above and beyond treating our patients, no matter how busy we are. In the service area, we have also had the opportunity to extend some hours in one of our urgent cares in response to the flu season and just the extraordinary amount of activity going on in this community. During the month of February, we've opened University Parkway to extended hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Mondays. Starting in February, we'll have those hours open. Starting in March, we'll have those hours open 7 days a week. So we're going to evaluate that, and if that works out, and we can handle that, and we have the volume, we'll look at doing others down the road. Staying in service, Sarasota Memorial and the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare Foundation recently sponsored the 6th Annual Cardiac Summit, which is an informative update to physicians, staff, and members of the community on the latest advances in cardiac care. We had approximately 250 people attend, and you can see the agenda to the left. So we had a number of our physicians get up and give presentations, and we really want to thank them for taking time out of their weekend to do that. Staying in service, we have a free lecture series focusing on vascular care during this next month. We would invite you to just go on our website and see when those dates are, and they're all free to the community. But we would ask you to RSVP just so we make sure we have enough seats for you. SMH 40 Carats team up to provide free services and support for nursing moms. Many new moms, breastfeeding can be challenging, especially in the early days. 40 Carats Family Center and SMH have teamed up to provide free latch clinics and breastfeeding support to nursing moms. Clinics do not require pre-registration or reservations, and you can see the details there about when they are, and also on our website. Inequality, we SMH, inpatient rehab, and stroke specialty programs have once again achieved national recognition for their high quality of care, earning 3-year accreditation from CARF International. The accreditations are the highest level that can be given an organization. The December 2017 accreditation report for SMH contained no recommendations for improvement, an accomplishment achieved by only 3% of surveys. So congratulations to our team that ran that. Staying in quality, in December, the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare Foundation launched the Give Gratitude Grateful Patient Program to help patients show their gratitude to SMH employees and care providers. The new program gives patients and donors the opportunity to honor doctors, nurses, caregivers, and even entire departments for the excellent care they received at SMH. Brochures about the program are being distributed throughout the hospital, and patients and family can participate giving at the SMH Healthcare Foundation website. Moving into the people segment, we have a blood donor here that reached the 44-gallon mark. So Anthony Whitfield of Orthopedics was recently honored for his exceptional generosity and selflessness for donating an incredible 44 gallons of blood over the years, the most of any current SMH employee. Ken Trotter, our SMH Blood Drive Committee Chairman, honored Anthony with a donor recognition pin and a commemorative T-shirt. We just want to thank Anthony and all those who give blood in this hospital for what they do, because they save lives each and every day. Staying in people, American Cancer Society continues making strides. At the recent 2017 wrap-up celebration for making strides against breast cancer, participants were tickled pink by the, I can't believe we wrote that, tickled pink by the event totals. 20,000 participants, 336 teams, 387,000 raised. SMH was represented by 31 teams who raised a total of 16,546. Staying in the people section, the 37th annual MLK Memorial Breakfast included a number of SMH attendees. From left was Barbara Dixon, a patient relations rep 2 at Newtown Internal Medicine, Dr. Ferengi, our Newtown practice director, Greg Carter of the Sarasota County Public Hospital Board, Dr. Karen Hammond, who's an internal medicine residency program and associate director, and Dr. Wilhelmina Visa-Ramesh, who's our internal medicine residency program director. So thank you all for participating and representing Sarasota well. In the growth segment, We had our Bariatric Center opens its new space. The Bariatric and Metabolic Health Center offers surgical and non-surgical solutions to help patients lose weight safely and resolve many health conditions associated with obesity. Several weeks ago, the center moved from its second floor location at the Clark Road Outpatient Center to the brand new spacious suite on the first floor of the same building. The program's results have exceeded national averages, with patients reporting improvements in obesity-related conditions, including sleep apnea, GERD, hyperlemia, hypertension, and diabetes. And just to remind the board, we had Dr. Rao here last month giving that presentation, and she's really leading that program. In the growth segment, we all heard from Dr. Paul Chomiak earlier, so we just want to extend an official welcome to Dr. Chomiak, who has joined First Physicians Group as the Director of Thoracic Surgical Oncology. More than 20 years of experience providing specialized treatment to patients with lung cancer and thoracic disease. Dr. Chomiak's experience includes robotic-assisted surgery and minimally invasive techniques for malignant and benign cancers and disorders of the lung and chest, as well as interventional bronchoscope and improved diagnostics and surgical techniques. So welcome again to Dr. Chomiak. Staying in growth, also want to welcome two of our current medical staff members. Sarasota neurologists joined First Physicians Group. Board-certified neurologists Dean Sutherland and Greg Haynes have joined SMH Network of Primary and Specialty Physicians under the new practice name First Physicians Group Neurology. Dr. Sutherland and Haynes have been in private practice in Sarasota for 15 years and 13 years, respectively, treating a wide range of neurologic injuries from disease from headaches, dementia, and stroke to Parkinson's, ALS, and other nerve and muscular disorders. So welcome to both of them to our team. Many thanks to the efforts of the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare Foundation, and most importantly, our wonderful community for the success of the first annual hospital gala. $1 million was raised to support emergency care services, including the trauma center. Proceeds will ensure Sarasota Memorial is able to deliver the most critical life-saving care for everyone in the area. So Mason, please thank your team and your board for that. And Mr. Chairman, that's my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, David. All right, we're good.
Okay.
We don't have anything on the consent agenda. Any public comments? No public comments. Anything legal?
No report.
No report on legal. No other business. So with that in mind, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy.
Another day.